everyone, I am Deep Patel from the Department of Mechanical Engineering. Today we are going to start our new chapter, chapter number 6, that is the boiler. Okay, so first of all, what is the boiler? So we can say that the boiler is the device which is used to produce the steam. We know that whenever we want to generate the electricity from the turbine, we have to provide steam over the turbine, so that with the help of the steam the turbine will rotate, and with the rotation of turbine we can generate the electricity, and this whole procedure is done in the thermal power plant. Okay, so to produce the steam we need one machine, that is the boiler. Okay, so in this lecture we will discuss about the what are the types of boiler is available, then we will discuss about the classification of boiler. After that we will discuss about the difference between the water tube boiler and the fire tube boiler. Okay, so let us start the chapter number 6, that is the boiler. So first we will discuss about the definition of the boiler. So we can say that boiler is the closed pressure vessel in which the steam is generated with the capacity exceeding 25 liters. The gauge pressure should be greater than or equals to 1 kg per centimeter square, and the water will be heated above the 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, so these are some basic specifications that should be needed, then we can call it as a boiler. Okay, now the steam which is generated in the boiler can be used for different purpose. We know that steam is used to rotate the turbine, and then we can generate the electricity from the rotating turbine. Okay, so these are some applications of the steam. So the first application is it is used to run the external combustion engine or the steam engine. Okay, we know that the locomotive engines are run by the steam. Okay, so we can say that it is used to run the external combustion engine. Second, at low pressure for the industrial process or in the sugar mills, in the sugar factories, that can be used. The third application of the steam is for producing the hot water, which can be used for heating installation at much lower pressure. Okay, so at low pressure we can heat up the water. Okay, so these are some applications of the steam which is generated in the boiler. Okay, now we are going to discuss about the classification of the boiler. So the boiler are classified according to the many types. Let us discuss it one by one. So the first classification is according to the geometric orientation of the boiler. So according to the geometric orientation, we can classify it into the horizontal boiler, vertical boiler and the inclined boiler. Okay, so if the axis of boiler is vertical, then it is called the vertical boiler. If the axis of the boiler is horizontal, then it is called horizontal boiler, and if the axis of boiler is inclined, then it is called the inclined boiler. Generally, the example of the horizontal boiler is the Babcock and Wilcox boiler, locomotive boiler or the Lancashire boiler. The example of the vertical boiler is Cochrane boiler. Okay, so the Lancashire boiler, Cochrane boiler, Babcock Wilcox boiler, that all the boiler we will discuss in detail. Okay, but here you have to remember only names of the boiler. Okay, now second type of the classification is according to the working pressure. So according to the working pressure, we can categorize it into the low pressure boiler, medium pressure boiler and the high pressure boiler. Okay, so we can say that the low pressure boiler is the pressure up to 3 to 10 bar. Okay, now the medium pressure boiler is the pressure is vary between 10 to 25 bar, and if the pressure is above 25 bar, then it is called the high pressure boiler. Here you have to understand that the high pressure boiler means the pressure is above the 25 bar. So generally in the low pressure boiler, the Cochrane boiler and the Cornish boiler are the low pressure boiler. Medium pressure boiler is the Lancashire boiler and the locomotive boiler, and the pressure above 25 bar, that is the high pressure boiler. So Babcock and Wilcox boiler is the example of the high pressure boiler. Here the third point is the high pressure boiler, that you have to keep in mind. Okay, now our next type of the classification is according to the relative position of the boiler. So according to the relative position of the water and the hot gases, we can categorize it into the fire tube boiler and the water tube boiler. Okay, so first of all let us understand what is the meaning of fire tube boiler. We can say that if the flue gases are travels in the tube and water is surrounded to the tube, then we can say that the heat will be transferred from the tube or from the flue gases to the fire tube, and then from the fire tube it will transfer to the water. Okay, so we can say that this type of the arrangement is called the fire tube boiler. Okay, now what is in the water tube boiler? In the water tube boiler, the water will be circulated inside the tube and the flue gases or the fire gases will be surrounded to the tube. So here how the heat is transferred from the fire gases or the flue gases to the tube, and from the tube it will transfer to the water because water is inside the tube. Okay, so according to the position of the water and the flue gases, we can categorize into the fire tube boiler and into the water tube boiler. In the fire tube boiler, the flue gases will be travel inside the tube and water will be surrounded to the heat, and in the water tube boiler, water will be circulated in the tube and the flue gases will surrounded to the tube. Okay, so this is the simple difference between the fire tube boiler and the water tube boiler. Now the example of the fire tube boiler is the Lancashire boiler. Okay, now the example of the water tube boiler is the Babcock and Wilcox boiler. Okay, so this is what all about the fire tube and the water tube boiler. Now our next type of the classification is the according to the location of furnace. So where the furnace is located, then we can categorize it according to the externally fired boiler and the internally fired boiler. Okay, so if the furnace is located outside the boiler, then it is called the externally fired boiler, and the Babcock and Wilcox is the best example of the externally fired boiler. Second is the internally fired boiler. So we can say that if the furnace is located inside the boiler, then we can call it as a internally fired boiler. So the Cochrane boiler and the Lancashire boiler is the best example of the internally fired boiler. Okay, now second, according to the number of tubes, so we can categorize it into the single tube boiler and the multi tube boiler. Single tube boiler is the Cornish boiler, and the we can say that the multi tube boiler is the Babcock and Wilcox boiler. Okay, now next, we will discuss about according to the method of water circulation. So it can be categorized into the natural circulation boiler and the forced circulation boiler. Okay, so if we can say that the water is travel due to the gravity or the buoyancy force, then we can say that the boiler is the natural circulation of the boiler. Okay, so we can say that if the flow of the water is takes place naturally by the density difference or because of the gravitational force, then we can say that it is the natural circulation boiler. And the example of the natural circulation boiler is the Cochrane boiler. Second is the forced circulation boiler. So in the forced circulation boiler, we are going to provide some external force or we are going to use some external device like pump, so we can transfer the water. So this type of the boiler is known as the forced circulation boiler, and the example of the forced circulation boiler is Bunsen boiler and the Lamont boiler. Okay, now our next type of the classification is according to the mobility of the boiler. So we can categorize it into the two types. First is the stationary boiler and second is the mobile boiler. So the example of the stationary boiler is the Babcock and Wilcox boiler, and second is the mobile boiler. So we can say that the example of the mobile boiler is the locomotive boiler. Okay, now we are going to discuss about the difference between the water tube boiler and the fire tube boiler. Okay, so here you can see the figure. Our first figure is shows that it is the water tube boiler, and second figure is of the fire tube boiler. Now we can say that from the figure that in the fire tube boiler, you can see here in the fire tube boiler what happens, the flue gases are travels in the tubes and water is circulated surrounding to the fire tube. Okay, so ultimately what happens, the flue gases will transfer the heat to the tube, and from the tube the water will gain some heat. Okay, and ultimately the flue gases will be travel outward from the chimney. Okay, so this is the simple diagram of the fire tube boiler. Now in the water tube boiler, you can see in the water tube boiler what happens. In the water tube boilers, the water is travel inside the tube. Here you can see that water is going from the bottom position and it will travels to the vertical tubes. After that it will is going outward from the upper tube. Okay, so you can see in the water tube boiler the water is traveling inside the tube. Okay, and the flue gases are travel surrounding to the tubes. Okay, so we can say that in the water tube boiler the water will be inside the tube and the flue gases will be outside the tube. So this is the simple figure, and from this figure we can give basic difference between the water tube boiler and the fire tube boiler. Okay, so this is the most important question for your examination point of view. Okay, so we can say that the first difference between the fire tube boiler and the water tube boiler is that the position of the water and hot gases. So as we have discussed that the hot gases will inside the tube in the fire tube boiler, and in the water tube boiler the water will be inside the tube. Okay, now next is the mode of the firing. So generally the fire tube boilers are the internally fired boilers and the water tube boilers are the externally fired boilers. Okay, so internally fired boiler and the externally fired boiler we will detail discuss when we were discussing about the Cochran boiler and the Babcock Wilcox boiler. Okay, but here you have to understand this, that the generally fire tube boilers are the internally fired boilers and the water tube boilers are the externally fired boilers. Okay, next, the operational pressure. So generally the fire tube boilers are the low pressure boilers and it is used for up to the 16 bar pressure, and water tube boilers are generally high pressure boilers, so it can pressure can be increased up to the 100 bar. Okay, now next is the rate of steam production. So because the pressure is low, the rate of steam production is lower in the case of fire tube boiler, and here the rate of steam production is very high in the case of the water tube boiler. Okay, now next point is the suitability. So generally the fire tube boilers are not suitable for the large power plants because the pressure is low. The water tube boiler is suitable for the high power plant because it can generate the very high pressure. So we can produce the more amount of the steam and we can produce the more electricity. So it is generally used for the very high power plants. Okay, next, the risk of the bursting, okay, or the risk of the explosion is very less in the case of the fire tube boiler, but here the pressure is very high, so the risk of the burning or the risk of the explosion is very high in the case of the water tube boiler. Okay, now next is the floor area. So generally the area which is required by the fire tube boiler is very less compared to the water tube boiler. Next, the construction. So to construct the fire tube boiler is very much difficult compared to the water tube boiler, because here you have to travel the flue gases inside the tubes. Okay, so to construct that type of the fire tubes is more difficult compared to the water tube. Okay, so we can say that the construction of the fire tube boiler is difficult compared to the water tube boiler. Okay, now our next difference is the transportation. So we can say that the transportation is very difficult in the case of the fire tube boiler. In the water tube boiler it is the simple. Next, the shell diameter. So we can say that here the shell diameter is large for the same power, because in the shell you have to fit two fire tubes. Okay, so the shell diameter is large compared to the water tube boiler. Okay. Next is the chances of the explosion, that we have already discussed, that the chances of the explosion is very less in the case of the fire tube boiler compared to the water tube boiler. Okay. Next, the treatment of the water. Generally, we know that in the water there is a salt particle or the some mud and the impurities are present. Okay, so in the fire tube boiler we can get the benefit of it, that we do not have to filter the water. Okay, so we can say that here the treatment of the water is not necessary in the case of the fire tube boiler. Now in the water tube boiler we know that the water will be travels inside the tubes, so there is a chances of the salt deposition inside the tube. Okay, and if the salt is deposited inside the tube, then there is a chances that the heat will not be transferred. Okay, so we can say that the treatment of the water is very much necessary in the case of the water tube boiler. Okay, now next is the accessibility of the various parts. Okay, so we can say that if we want to do maintenance over the boiler, then for cleaning or maintenance is very much easy in the case of the water tube boiler, but it is difficult in the case of the fire tube boiler. Okay, and our last point is the requirement of the skill. So generally less skill operator is required for the fire tube boiler. In here they require more skill and the careful attention in the case of the water tube boiler. Okay, so this is the basic difference between the fire tube boiler and the water tube boiler. Okay, now our last point is that the essential requirement for the good boiler. Okay, so if we want to make good boiler, then what are the basic requirement that we will discuss here? Okay, so the first requirement is that it should produce maximum steam per unit fuel consumption to increase the efficiency of the boiler. Okay, so we can say that if we are going to burning 1 kilogram of the coal or 1 kilogram of the fuel, then it can be utilized that heat very much efficient, and it can produce higher amount of the steam. Okay, so this is the basic requirement of any boiler. Second, it should be light in the weight and occupy the minimum space. Okay, now we know that in the thermal power plant the space is limited because we have to fit more number of components. Okay, so we can say that it should be light in the weight so we can reduce the inertia, and also it should be occupy minimum space. Third is the design should be as per Indian boiler regulation. Okay, so we cannot generate the boiler, or we cannot make the boiler according to the any specification. Okay, so we have to make the boiler according to the norms of the IBR, that is the Indian boiler regulation. Next, the velocity of the water and the fire gases should be minimum to avoid the frictional losses. So this is the basic requirement. Now fifth requirement is that the tubes should be sufficient strong to resist the wear and the corrosion. Okay, so we know that in the water tube boiler the water will be travels inside the tube, and in the fire tube boiler the water will be surrounded to the tube. Okay, so we have to make these tubes are so efficient that it can resist the corrosion, because it will be direct contact with the water. Okay, so the corrosion resistance should be there, also the wear resistance should be there. Okay, so this is the fifth requirement of the boiler. Now our next requirement of the good boiler is that the mud and other impurities should not be deposited on the heating surface. Okay, so if the mud and impurities will be deposited on the heating surface, then what happens, the heat cannot be easily transferred. Okay, so that is our basic requirement, that the mud and other impurities of the water will not be deposited on the heating surface. Okay, and our last requirement is that it should be easy to maintain and inspect. This is the most important requirement. Okay, so when we generate any type of the boiler, we have to provide some main holes and the blow holes. So with the help of this main hole, we can easily maintain the boiler. So this is our basic requirement. So these are the 7 requirements which is very essential for producing the, or for making the good boiler. Okay, so this is all about today's lecture. Today we have discussed about the what is the definition of boiler, then we have discussed about the classification of boiler, and we have discussed about the difference between the water tube boiler and the fire tube boiler. After that, we have discussed about the essential requirements for the good boiler. Okay, so this is all about today's lecture. Thank you for today.